History of Islam. Islam flourished with the advent of Muhammad, 570-632, Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, and Ali. Its major books are the Quran, Sunnah, Sirah, Nahj al-Balagha. Islam spread rapidly and many non-Arabs embraced it who did not speak Arabic, which is necessary for the understanding of the Quran. The Umayyad rulers asked them to pay jizya as their acts did not reflect Islamic faith correctly. This started a struggle between ruled and rulers that led to splits and even wars. While Umar ibn Abdul Aziz, who was Umayyad himself, said, Allah sent Muhammad as a preacher, not as a tax collector. Islam split into groups, some of which believed in postponing, that is, served the interests of the Umayyad. Other groups were against them and considered them as apostates. The main groups were Shiai, Khawarij, Murjia, and Mutazila. The Umayyad dynasty propagated the doctrine of postponing to condone its injustice. Khawarij reacted by taking arms and considering them as apostates. The Shiai venerated their imams and adopted taqiyya, dissimulation, and Mu'tazila raised the banner of God's justice and unity. The groups. Murjia, Muawiyah and his son Yazid changed Islamic rule from consensus to hereditary. Social injustice spread to the extent that some raised the question, are these rulers believers? The responses were different, gave rise to many groups, among which Al-Murji'ah. This group believed in the separation of faith and action, i.e. they refused to judge people's beliefs and actions and postponed it to the Day of Judgment, as it is the proper role of God Himself. It was known as the Jahmi group, as they were led by Jahm ibn Safwan. This doctrine served the interests of the Umayyad. The question was, is faith and action linked or separate? The answer was that they were separate, and that no sin could obliterate your faith, not any action could help you without faith. All judgment is reserved to God. The Shia. The word Shia means helpers. It has come to be applied to the supporters of Ali and the Imams after him. Finally came the belief of text and commandments in the time of Ja'far as-Sadiq, which is against consensus rule. The Shia then split to some 100 groups, the most important of which is Imami Shia. They rejected Saqifa consensus, which Ali himself gave allegiance to the caliphs who ruled before him, and in his book Nahj al-Balagha there is no mention of text and commandments. Some history scholars attribute this belief to Jewish Abdullah ibn Saba. Khawarij. Khawarij are those who rebel against the unjust ruler. In the time Muawiyah and his son Yazid, many political fights rose to the extent that people were praying after Ali, as his prayer was safer, and eating with Muawiyah, as his table was more substantial. The Battle of Safayn was most bloody, 70,000 dead. Then from Ali, Shia broke the Khawarij, who claimed that they were the only true Muslims and all others renegades, including Muawiyah and Ali, who accepted the result of the unfair arbitration. They considered all religious mistakes as grave sins, and the doer a disbeliever. They were led by Abdullah ibn Wahb al-Rasibi, who was a faithful Quran reader leading a pure religious life. They believed in literal interpretation of the Quran. They were idealists, not politicians. They rebel against the ruler, since only God is the ruler. Any good Muslim can lead, including a woman, for some. They split from Ali and killed him. Al-Mu'tazila. To respond to the injustice of the Umayyad, Khawarij considered the ruler disbeliever. Shia adopted dissimulation. Mu'tazila called themselves the champions of divine justice and unity. They were led by Hassan al-Basri. They refuted predestination and strongly defended man's freedom of choice and responsibility. On the other side, they stressed God unity to its maximum purity and sanctity. All that may come to your mind, our Lord is different from it. They believe that the one who commits a grave sin is a hypocrite and momentum before rebellion. Then Wasil ibn Ata split with Basri, considered the ruler renegade, the mid-position, and established the 5 pillars of Mutazila doctrine: unity, justice, mid-position, non-interference with the companions, enforce good and prohibit evil. Wahhabiyya. The Wahhabi movement was related to Muhammad bin Abdul Wahhab, 1892, before Napoleon's invasion of the Middle East. It started from a Bedouin context in Najd, Arabia, and believed in a simple form of Islam as the original. No arts, no philosophy, no heresies. It is an extension of Salafism of Ibn Hanbal, Ibn Taymiyyah, Ibn Qayyim. It fought heresies, modernism, Sufism, as today's polytheism is worse than the polytheism of the Prophet's time. The Muslim nation needs a renewal of the unity in belief and worship. They believed in the literal interpretation of the texts rather than in reason, that God enforced with power more than he does with the Quran. They were rallied by Prince Muhammad bin Saud, and both agreed to build a kingdom based on divine unity. They fought heretics, Turks, and destroyed Hussein's shrine in Karbala. Ash'ariyya. The Ash'ari creed was due to Abi al-Hasan al-Ash'ari, whose life was that of a very humble and sincere student of Islam. His early expenditure amounted to 17 dirhams. At first he was a Mu'tazila, then saw the Prophet in a dream, who asked him to stick to my sunnah. So he reconciled text and reason, no anthropomorphism nor suspending. His doctrine spread through North Africa in centuries.